Hey everyone, Egman here with another video. Today we're going to look at the top 10 cards and archetypes from the new set that releases tomorrow, even though the pre-release was last week, and I think everyone has most of the cards they need anyways right now, but yeah, we're just going to jump on into it. If you need any of the cards that I'm talking about or anything, please consider using my TCG player link in the description below. I get a little bit of a kickback and helps me out, so I'd appreciate that, and yeah, let's just jump on into it with number 10. Number 10. For number 10, we've got Balma. This was kind of a tough one to decide on number 10. It's either I either felt it was like the Balma or the Beerus. Both of them are kind of similar in my mind in a lot of ways, where they're both pretty good archetypes, and the leaders are pretty strong, but they don't really have a finishing condition. They don't really have a win condition based on what I've seen. And maybe there's some options outside of the set, but just looking at it, they both do some really cute things, but I don't really personally see how they can finish out the game. So this Balma, what she does is that all red and yellow Saiyan cards and Earthlings in your barrier gain blocker, which is fantastic actually. There are a bunch of cards that want to be blown up, and this could actually, just even talking about this right now, I'm like, oh man, I could use bandages in this deck. That's really cool, and that'd be a really awesome archetype. But based on the archetype we have right now, that's not too bad. She also is a 5K leader, and she's active main once per turn, draw one card. Awaken when your life is at 4 or less. It's an untapped 2, and on the Awaken side, once again, all red and yellow Saiyan and Earthling cards in your battle, you gain blocker, and then active main once per turn, just draw 2 cards willy nilly. So. You can draw 3 cards on your Awakening turn, which is fantastic. The archetype that this deck kind of supports is just this idea that you get all these. If you've seen like the Super Saiyan God movie, it's pretty much the get all the Saiyans into your drop area. Then you can use Son Goku, the Path to Godhood. Place this card in its owner's drop area, then choose one Son Gohan, Adolescence, Son Goten, Vegeta, Trunks Youth, and Vegeta card in your drop area, return them to your deck. Choose up to one red and yellow multicolor Son Goku card in your deck or hand with an energy cost of 3. Play it, shuffle your deck, then it gains double strike and dual attack for duration of the turn. So you have this big 20k Goku. It has crit, an offering, which is really neat, and then you pretty much just use this to go off. You have you can do up to 4 crit damage with this guy, and just offers a lot of pressure for really cheap. And the idea with this deck too is that you just fill up your drop area with all your effects, which means you could potentially get this off on turn 2, and then just keep going for it. Especially with Birthday Party, if you have a red or yellow multicolored card in your energy, you can play activate this card from your hand without paying its energy cost, and you just draw 2 and then drop 2 every turn, and then there's just some other cards that help go through this. So I mean, it's not infeasible to get this off on turn 2, offer a lot of pressure and then keep going on your opponent. And then there's also like this Vegeta here. I wish there was more cards in Heroic, but you could still like use the 1-drop extra card, but activate and choose 1 red Balma in your battle area and place it in your bottom of its owner's deck. Play this card from your hand, then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier. Gets minus 10k power for your and you can't play this for the duration of the turn. But yeah, just there's a lot of, I think, synergy here. It's kind of like a weird like early game aggro mid range, but I don't feel like it has a really good like big threat at the end of the game. So that's why it's number 10. And let's go on to number 9. Number 9. For number 9, we have the Secret Rare Dragon Ball's Negative Energy Overflow. It's really hard to judge this card and not either overhype or underhype it, but so what it does is that it's a 7-drop, and then permanent reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 1 for each battle card in your drop area. An active battle at the end of this turn, choose all battle cards ignoring barrier and place them in their owner's drop areas. So it's a really generic board wipe, which is normally a really good card. And any deck that's not using Ultimate can, doesn't have a Secret Rare, can easily slide this in, as long as you're not playing like an Overwhelm deck, and you just have constantly a lot of cards in your drop area. But yeah, just the idea of this as a board wipe. The reason people don't like this so much is that it's at the end of your turn that everything gets wiped, so you have to play this like the turn before your opponent goes off to get a lot of value from it, and that can be kind of hard to judge sometimes. But yeah, just being able to get rid of like a bunch of like sticky barrier dudes and all that can be really good. I don't actually, I'm going to look it up live right now. Does it get rid of like the 1-drop Kaba, or not Kaba, Kale? What do these guys say? Can't be KO'd by your opponent's skills, but I don't think it says KO. It just says place them in their drop areas. Okay, cool. So it does get rid of veggies, which is great. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a really weird card. Reading at it, just the fact that it says, ignoring barrier, place all cards in the drop area. That seems like a really good effect. And since this can be technically free, that's also really good too. So I don't know how to judge it. I bet people are going to be using this, and any control deck that doesn't already have a secret rare, I think they're going to run this. But it's just a weird card. I'm really interested to see how it fares in the next couple weeks. And yeah, that's all I have to say about this. Let's go to number 8.
Number 8.
Number 8 is Dr. Euro or Wheelo or however people want to, keep calling it going forward. But yeah, I personally really love this archetype, and I have to. It's kind of cheese, so I have to pull it back to number 8. But I'd love for it to be top 5. But yeah, this is a really cool archetype. The whole idea with this is that you're kind of a control deck, with the idea that if you play the 6-drop field. So this card in general is actually really good. So your battle cards can be switched to rest mode by your opponent's card skills, and you can only use blue or green card skills to place cards under this card. Permanent, this card cannot be removed from battle here by your opponent's card skills, and then activating for 2, choose one of your opponent's battle cards to energy cost of 4 or less and place it under this card. So that's really good. And then all things considered, you get your leader, and if you have, 17 or more cards under your lab, then you just win the game. And that's I mean, I see this, this line of text that says you win the game. I'm like, okay, I gotta figure out how to do it. And yeah, it's actually very, in my testing is very viable. There's a lot of cards that one, help you put cards under your lab, and then also help you just defend and everything with all of the Dr. Wheelos, like this 3-drop one that's revive that has blocker, and then every time you play it, you choose 2 cards from your opponent's drop area and place them under your leader. So that's really good, just being able to, since this is blocker, it's easier to get code, and then you can revive it, and then it comes back, and then you take 2 cards from your opponent's drop area, which usually can start screwing them up too. So all that's really great. The 6-drop, being able to just place 6 cards in general, which is a big swing, which can really get you to your win condition there. And that's fantastic. And you can even I feel like there's a way to go aggressive with this deck. So if you start with a really control version, and then your opponent deck doesn't allow you to do it, you can just switch into being more aggressive, and then you can really go off with a lot of hand destruction. That's what I really know, a lot of hand destruction, and you can really outvalue your opponent with all these revive cards too. So really fun archetype. I hope it does well. Yeah, that's it. I would really personally, I would put this higher, but I'm trying to catch myself, because normally these are kind of hit or miss a lot of the time, and yeah, I don't know. So let's just move on to number 7.
Number 7.
Next up, we've got the Android 21 archetype, specifically the clone token one, and you can also use the new Android 18 leader for this. I felt like this one was probably a little bit better with Android 21. They pretty much do the same things. The only difference is that Android 21 is more for untapping energy, and Android 18 is better at just getting rid of 1-drops. That's the main difference between the two of them. I felt like this was more universally good. If the meta changes where getting rid of 1-drops is more important, Android 18 would be better. But just using this, and I'm going to be honest, I haven't played with this archetype a lot. I just know they've been printing a lot of cards with clone tokens, and are based on clone tokens and everything. So I felt like not talking about them on this list would have been a bad content creator choice, but. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I need to see it more. I don't really see exactly what the flash thing for this. I mean, it's really cool being able to play clone tokens and then do stuff, play stuff for cheap depending on that. So I think it's going to be experimented with a lot, and I think it's going to take a lot of trial and error. I don't know anything about I tried to make an Android 21 list last week, and it didn't go really well. So I think it's above me right now, but I bet there's some really sick lists with it. Yeah, just the idea that you play tokens, and then you have a bunch of these cards that you choose 3 tokens from your opponent's battle area, remove and play this card from your hand for free. So it's really good for like energy economy, and then you also get this untap, and then all this blue green energy stuff, and I don't know. I think it's cool. I'd really this is something that I hope someone else makes a good deck for, because it's beyond me right now, and but I bet that there's some really cool lists with it. So sorry for being lame and just kind of copping out on this one, but let's just move on to number 6.
Number 6.
All right, for number 6, these might be like duh cards, but they're not super flashy or anything, but they're the new. I don't even know if we have a fancy term for them, but like the new energy exhaust lists, multicolored cards. We had these for the previous 2 colors from last set. We had them for blue, yellow, and red, green. And so this one, it's just if you have a blue green multicolored card in your energy, you can negate this card's energy exhaust in all areas, which is great. Same thing with this Whis for red yellow. I don't have a lot to say. These cards are good. They are good. Being able to, and these are going to be important moving forward, because if there's ever a multicolored archetype with these 2 colors, you probably should be putting these cards in there. Having playing energy for quote unquote free is fantastic. And yeah, they really get there. I don't really have anything to say about these. These are just good. So there we go. You did it. Let's go to number 5.
Number 5.
All right. Next up, we've got these 5 extra cards that kind of have this whole theme of first you have to have a leader card that's the same color as it, but if you have 4 or less life as well, you can play activate this counterplay. And then additionally, if you have a multicolored card in your energy and your life is at 4 or less, you can activate this card's counter skill from your hand by adding a card from your life to your hand instead of playing its energy cost. So they're kind of like the sparking negates, but there's not sparking, so there's not a really fun way to say it. I mean, we can call them sparking counters, even though they're not really, but they kind of follow that theme of being able to play for free. But yeah, they're all have this cool theme, and I think they're going to be really good. Especially the 4 on the left here, Super Gallic Gun. It's kind of like a weird Crusher Ball. If you want to do this, I like Crusher Ball is probably better. 9 times out of 10, sure, you can't play it from at 0 life, or sorry, 0 energy, but I don't know. I'm more excited for these 4, and strictly because these are like multi-counter counter cards, and this can be really like a new Bad Ring Laser in effect. So all the ones on the left here, they have, if your leader card is whatever, let's say Beerus Ball, if your battle card being played has 15k power or less, place it in the owner's drop area instead of being played, and if it's your opponent's turn, choose up to one of your leader cards gets plus 5k power for duration of the turn. Force Breakthrough, if it has energy cost 3 or less, placed in the owner's drop area instead of being played. Absolute Release Ball, if it has energy cost 3 or less, it returns to your owner's hand instead of being played, and then you choose up to one of your blue energy, switch to active mode. So this one's actually super duper good, because you're able to also untap an energy, so you can, it's kind of like an energy for free with it. And then also Super Kamehameha. If the battle card being played has an energy cost of 3 or less, it is sent to the owner's warp instead of being played. So by and large, these guys are really great. You can play something we've been afraid to do is that we can play something that's high energy cost, and then your opponent's just like, aha, I'll use my 2 energy to get rid of the Champa, and then you can be like, oh, actually, I'll just play, Absolute Release Ball. Champa goes back to your hand instead. I get an untap an energy, and then I can just continue my plays. So I think this will be fantastic for more, ironically, aggressive decks instead of defensive. Being able to just have these cards that, 1, can help self-awaken you, and 2, honestly, these are just great energy economy. Being able to use 1 energy to get rid of something, that your opponent spent 3 energy for is fantastic. Being able to do it without using any energy, and, being able to get a +1 is also fantastic. So I think these cards are great. If you're ever afraid of multi-color cards, I think these are great for that as well. And yeah, I think these are something you have to be really looking forward, playing around moving forward. So that's that. Let's move on to number 4.
Number 4.
For number 4, we've got Baby Vegeta, and strictly like the evolve archetype. Not to be they're like, this has like 2 archetypes too in this set, and one is kind of like just a bunch of like these evolve targets that just keep evolving and going up in there. And then there's also like the brainwashed archetype. I haven't played with that one as much, but it seems kind of janky. But yeah, this is the and if you've seen like my videos, I made one last week for this archetype as well. But yeah, this just seems really good. It has a lot of synergy in itself. It has a lot of synergy with old cards, and it can just be really aggressive, which is really cool. This leader, awakening at 2, but also being able to draw 2 cards and then choose 2 cards from your energy, switch to an active mode. That feels really good. And some of these cards are really good boss monsters. Being able to just give stuff -5. Oh man, I just totally where in my mind? I gotta put the secret rare in here too. Not that this is gonna be seen for much longer, but red, yellow, and just red. There, boom, that 8-drop. Fun fact: I think this 8-drop is like the best one. It's just super powerful. Being able to just for 5 energy, put so much pressure on your opponent. I think it's just insane and just gets a lot of value. This could just be any deck that's running red yellow and can play this is I think really has a lot of chance to just win the game outright. Randomly with this. So yeah, just a strong archetype. They obviously push this archetype a lot, giving a starter deck and then putting all the support in the set as well. So I think this to me this is like the Universe 6 Kaba of last set where it's really aggressive, and from an outside point of view, it's really obvious that you should build this deck. There's not a lot of this. I'd say has more flexibility than Kaba, so it might be hard to track down. But I think a lot of people are going to be trying this, and I think it's going to be seeing a lot of success at least early on until we kind of figure out what's going on. So that's number 4. Let's go to number 3.
Number 3.
All right, number 3, just kind of like what number 5 was. They added these cards for every color, and I don't have a catchy name for them either. But they all have this effect that says when you play this card, draw 1 card. Then for the duration of the game, if the turn player would use the skill of a battle card or extra card to switch energy to active mode, they can't switch that energy to active mode unless they choose 5 cards from the drop here and send them to their warp. That's like insane. And if you really think about it, like it's battle card extra skill, so it's not the same thing as like Whis, where like the Super Saiyan God, Soul Striker, they can't even swing at their leader because they'd have to untap stuff and worry about it. But yeah, it's really powerful. It's also only turn player too, so it's not you can still like use Dimension Match. You can untap 2 things without being worried about it. But still, this will just like stop a lot of decks outright. A lot of these decks, 1, if they're really aggressive, they don't fill the drop area really quickly, and 2, they just, I don't know, like these are just like a little bit too powerful, especially since the like duration of the game. If these were just like while this card's on the field, I think they'd be a little bit more balanced. But just being able to say turn 1, oh, I play Krillin the Cunning, and then I just your opponent can't really untap stuff on their turn anymore, which sucks, especially since like the Android 21 archetype deals with untap stuff. Sometimes it goes into your opponent's turn, so it's doesn't get hit by this. But yeah, I think this will make a lot of people rethink their deck building, and can just be really oppressive in what we kind of know in the metagame right now. So we'll see how these go, but I feel like a lot of cards, this is going to be like an auto extra deck card for a lot of people. And I think it will see a lot of at least thought of play, and we'll see if it does well at really deterring really aggressive decks. So let's go to number 2.
Number 2.
Number 2, we've got Pan, Great Ape Whisperer, and also Super Saiyan 4 Son Goku, a heartfelt plea. These are both just really great cards in their own right, and when they are used together, they're just fantastic. So this Goku, you can choose one of your red battle cards with 25k power or more and place it in your owner's drop area. When your leader card activates Awaken, if this isn't in play in your battle area, you may play this card from your hand. Your card doesn't even have to have like 25k original power, which I think is broken, that you can just have a 25k, and then when you do Awaken, you just play this for free. But you have to get rid of the card, but so you play it for free. And then also Pan, if your life is at 2 or less, when your leader card activates Awaken, you may play this card from your hand. And then choose up to one of your yellow battle cards which is active mode, then negate the skill for duration of the game. Both these cards, obviously the thing is like you play this, it's a triple strike with offering, and then you swing with it, and then you also played Pan at the same time, and so you can untap it and then just go from there. So, and this is active main too, so this isn't even when it gets played. So like originally like the big idea for me is like, oh, you can play this card, and if they use like Chomper or something to put in a rest mode, you can just say, okay, cool, well, I also have Pan here, so I'm just going to untap it, and then it's still going to have its pressure there. But this Pan also just does like weird stuff. It can just help with like a bunch of cards, since it's just, you have to awaken at 2, which can be a little bit tough, but if you're worried about anything being tapped, you can just play this and then go from, untap it, and it's just any yellow battle card, which there are a lot of good finishers, Height of Mastery, but yeah, if you just like the plain idea, like you can play this card, like if you're playing Yellow Broly, it's really easy to awaken on 2. You don't have to awaken early, so you can get Height of Mastery out, and then awaken at 2. They can like even use like Chomp or something and put in rest mode, and then you're like, aha, I saved it. Well, then you can just say, okay, cool, well, I'm just going to, I mean, sure, you already get the untap already, but you can get, you can awaken at 2, flip your leader over, play Pan for free, untap your Height of Mastery, and then, and it's active main too, so it doesn't even have to be right when it comes out, and then you can just get like 4 swings with Height of Mastery, or 3 if they try to, put in rest mode. I don't know, that just seems really good to me, and really, has a lot of potential. Similar with this Goku, just the fact that you can get this out for free and it's a 30k triple strike is stupid, and I feel like this can just be a really good finisher in their archetypes. Both these cards can be put in the Beerus and Balma decks I was talking about earlier. I felt like these two were better than those archetypes in general and shouldn't be kind of attached to those. I think they're just great in red and yellow decks outright, and I think these can be just, I've seen so many people play, make combo decks with these just because they're such prevalent finishers. So that's that, and let's move on to number 1.
Number 1.
And finally, number 1, we've got Dr. Lychee and Hatchiyak. This might be going out on a limb putting this as number 1, but I think this is a really, at least, annoying archetype. I think a lot of people would be trying this out. Just the fact that they put Nimbus on a leader is in my mind kind of silly. But just the fact that this exists and people have to be playing against it, it just completely shifts the game. It says, hey, aggro players, you can't play aggro anymore. You have to play my game, which is very powerful. Whether it's good or not, we'll see in the next couple of weeks. But I think a lot of people will be at least testing this deck. I think it has a lot of potential to be good. And there's just so many weird ways to play this, right? You pretty much have to only be using black cards, but that is not as much of a hindrance as it used to be when like Demigra first came out. And it's really cool. And just the fact that all these cards get shuffled back into your deck means that it has like Joe Nimba kind of support, which means that Janemba usually is kind of like the control deck breaker, and so that you have a way to keep refilling your deck, and so you don't ever mill out with this deck. You just automatically win in my mind against Janemba with this deck, which is one of probably the key things to stop control deck from being successful. So I think it has a lot of things going for it. It may be lacking like a really, really solid win condition, but I think it has a potential to just outvalue your opponent, get some really big swings in, and being able to just swing more than your opponent is fantastic too. So that's going to be it. And really, that's what I think is going to be best. We'll see if I'm wrong and if this is just complete trash or not, but I really think, based on my own testing, that this is a good archetype, and at least people will be trying it and playing out for the first couple weeks. So that's going to be it for me. Let me know what you guys think about this list. What did I get right? What did I get wrong? If you're watching this like 2 weeks later, you can laugh at how wrong I am as well. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.